Hi, I am Osman. I am an energy healer on a master level with telepathic capabilities and specialize in critical care recovery and terminal illnesses, amongst a host of other physiological, psychological, and also spiritual ailments. I'm also an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher that have developed a unique protocol from almost 5 decades of practice and studying under various masters of various types of yoga methods. And please visit my website, yogawellness786.com, for more information on my services. Also, remember my therapies are all natural based and not a replacement for medical treatment. A personal story on the power of belief. This is something that I experienced, in my life, where I was in a situation where there were some, aggrieved uh, people that open, they are so negative. People can be so evil, and they only think of themselves, and they go and open false charges against someone, right? And although they have all the evidence, and they know the person did not physically go and do any harm to them, but because they suffered some loss, and they want to bring down everyone and anyone, even the goldfish is a target. you know you get some people with so much of vindictiveness in them, so they open a case against me. And of course, the normal procedure is there has to be an arrest and then a bail hearing, and thereafter you can the case will start, right? And then you bring in your evidences, and you can overcome it. So there were multiple cases brought against me, and I think a total of about six. And I was arrested. And of course, when I came on the first hearing, the prosecution denied, any bail, because they needed to get all the information from all the other, warrants, because there was only one warrant served and there was five others outstanding, and they wanted to, finish those first, so get all the information, all those charges put forth before considering. And they, because I'm someone who travels a lot, travels multiple countries all the time, they felt that genuinely I'm a flight risk, because I have a home in multiple places and multiple cross borders, and it's easy for me. So they also, objected to, bail being granted. And so I needed, a professional representation, because definitely, not only did I feel that I'm innocent, I had the proof of my innocence as well. But once you're arrested, you don't have access to it. And I didn't have anyone in this country that I could reach out to. I mean, I had many people, right, that I knew, and I tried reaching out. No one wanted to respond, or no one wanted to assist me, in being my hands and legs, outside. And eventually I found, I found, some help from a few strangers. But I was in a situation where I needed to have legal representation, and I needed to do a bail application, right? Because once I have bail, I can go and secure the written documents and proofs, of my innocence, to prove it. And no one was willing to assist me, with regard to, obtaining. And I had no access to funds, because once you're arrested, you can't use your, your bank cards, and you can't go to the bank and draw cash withdrawal. I said, look, people that are very close to me, and it was very small amounts of money. I said, just lend it to me. As soon as I'm out, I'll pay it to you. I've got the money. I'm unable to, but the people refuse, right? And eventually, I was in a situation that I said, okay, I've tried requesting almost every person that I knew, right, for assistance, and no one was able to assist me, right, or prepared to assist me. And no one, there were some people just carelessly blocked me, right, because I had one person that I was able to reach out to, who was able to connect and speak to me regularly and reach out to the people I asked him to reach out to. And unfortunately, he was in a financially destitute position, so he could not help me, with regard to the representation or the the bail and so forth. But without representation, six of those cases fell and charges were withdrawn, because there was insufficient evidences and improper, evidences brought forth, right? So the arresting officers and the investigating officers are so irresponsible. They just, when they feel someone is a business person and wealthy, they just want to arrest on a whim. They don't consider to at least question the other side, right? So I understand in one circumstance they don't want to question the other side because he has a right to representation and a right to silence, and they don't want to question him, without representation and just bring the charges forward. But at least do some, verification, initial verification and understand, the situation, especially in business cases. This is not like a outward crime where there's assault or someone being shot and so forth. These are just paperwork, and business documents. So I was in that, and five of the cases. So how did this happen? So I said, okay, I don't have this, but doesn't mean I've got no way out. There's always a way, right? And I'm a person who is a religious person, right? And I believe very strongly in prayer, and I'm someone who is very regular in his prayer on a daily basis. And I've been always the habit, throughout my life. And I resorted to that. I said, I still have, prayer, and I resorted to prayer and believe that even if you don't believe in a God or in prayer, believe that there's always a way out. And I'm innocent, and and of course there are many people who are innocent that are incarcerated and spending long times, in jail. And with that belief, not only did five, fall away, and the last case we found enough ground, did a submission, but I was even, the judicial officer granted me a bail, and I managed to do my own representation, for the bail hearing. And it was opposed strongly, of course, by the prosecution, up to that point where, five cases were already, withdrawn. It was left with the last one. And the judicial officer says, look, there's so many cases brought against him. He's very likely innocent, looking at the trend. And you can't just keep an innocent person. He needs, and also the person is disabled, right? I'm blind that time. And there was no facility for blind people, in the holding cells and so forth. And they granted me, and I was worried that I didn't have cash or access to cash to pay the bail amount, once they declared it. And then they said, no, they're not putting a bail amount for me. I can go on a free bail, just on a warning. Was I relieved? That was even last, I keep recounting that story. And I spoke last night to a very close friend of mine that I speak to regularly. I said, that case that happened, it was something that was really unbelievable, that you just, because you're a business person, you have someone of means. And it's just that at that time, I didn't have access to my means. And, and I was just released on, on a warning. And the only thing I had is belief and prayer, right? And I managed to overcome that. And there were many times I was alone, stranded, right? When I lost my eyesight, I had no one to help me, right? I was living alone, and to just go and get a, get something to drink, from the shop, I couldn't go because I'm newly blind. I didn't know how to, mobilize myself and orientate myself and so forth. And I had to ask people, and I was in a situation where there were a lot of people coming in and out, and I had to ask people, and a lot of people refused. You just go. It was like probably 60 seconds walk. It was just around the corner, to get something, for me that I needed, and I had to just live without it, for long. And there were times when I was alone in my apartment. I had someone coming to assist me on a daily basis, out of the goodness of his heart, but he had a difficulty for 2 days. He could not come, and I had no food. in the house. I could not. I had money, right, and had no one. I called so many people, and no one, came out to help me, and I stayed without food. I just drank water for the 2 days, right? And then, of course, the help came to me, and I managed. And then slowly, I became more and more independent, and I learned how to, use my phones, the smartphone, with the accessibility functions, and able to use the online methods of getting my groceries delivered or anything that I wanted. I could just order online, and now I've got a person that I could call 24/7, and he does everything for me from a totally different continent in a different city. And I am here with family members who I thought is close friends. They are not prepared to help me, and a person from a totally different country and another city is helping me, right? So with the belief and faith, I will always, and progressing, and I developed my new strategies, new businesses. I registered two new companies and then opened bank accounts for them, implemented a marketing plan, and dealing with customers, and operating, and also continuing to make my videos as well, right? Alone, and moving on, right? Because I have faith and belief, and even if no help is coming, I found a way how to manage, on my own, and get around things, try to do things, in a way that I can achieve what I want to achieve, one way or the other, right? And so this is the power of faith and belief. So not only in a higher power, but also in yourself, and also that this can be done, right? So I've given you examples from my own personal circumstances of how, against all odds, I managed to push ahead and go ahead. So I hope that helps you as well. And remember, the power of faith and belief is very strong and very powerful. I always say, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it will achieve, right? As long as you believe that you can solve, there is a solution that you haven't found it, and you're going to find a solution. You're going to find a way how to make it work and get ahead. You're going to get ahead, right? Take care always.